The dining room feels smaller than usual tonight, even though nothing has changed. Same oak table, same cream-colored walls, same crystal chandelier casting warm light over everyone's faces. I'm sitting between Aunt Patricia and my cousin Dylan, picking at my roasted chicken while conversations buzz around me. Then Vanessa's voice cuts through everything like a knife. "Why don't you eat in the kitchen, Alex?" she says loudly, her fork pointed at me. "You know where you belong. You're not really family anyway." The table goes silent. Forks freeze midair. Uncle Warren stops chewing. Aunt Patricia's hand goes still on her wine glass. My brother Cameron stares at his plate like it's suddenly fascinating. Nobody speaks. Nobody defends me. The silence wraps around my throat, squeezing harder than Vanessa's words ever could. My sister smirks, satisfied with herself. She takes a sip of wine, her diamond bracelet catching the light. She's always been like this, bold, cruel, certain she's untouchable. Tonight she's outdone herself. I don't stand up. Don't yell. I just sit there, my hands trembling in my lap. Inside, my chest burns with anger and shame. But outside I stay perfectly calm. That calmness seems to unnerve her more than anything. Vanessa leans back in her chair, crossing her arms like she's just won some invisible battle. The smirk on her face grows wider. Around the table, people start moving again, awkwardly cutting their food, clearing throats, pretending nothing happened. Uncle Warren mumbles something about the weather. Aunt Patricia fidgets with her napkin. Cameron still won't look at me. My cousin Dylan shifts uncomfortably beside me, but he doesn't say a word either. They're all cowards. Every single one of them. Vanessa picks up her fork again, stabbing at her green beans with exaggerated casualness. She thinks she's won. She thinks I'll just take it like I always have. Like I did when she told everyone I didn't deserve to go to Dad's funeral because I wasn't really his daughter. Like I did when she told relatives I was adopted out of pity, not love. But tonight is different. My hand slides into my bag, resting on something thick and heavy. My fingers brush the edge of the manila envelope, and my pulse quickens. I've been carrying this for 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment. Tonight finally is that moment. I pull the envelope out slowly, deliberately. The sound of it sliding across the polished wood table cuts through the forced conversation. Everyone stops again. This time the silence feels different. Tense, uncertain, almost afraid. The envelope sits in the center of the table, thick and official-looking. My name is printed on the front in neat black letters. Beneath it, a law firm's logo gleams in gold embossing. Vanessa's fork clatters onto her plate. Her eyes narrow as she stares at the envelope like it's a live grenade. "What is that?" she asks, her voice sharp and suspicious. I don't answer. I just look at her, my face blank, my breathing steady. Let her wonder. Let her sweat. Uncle Warren clears his throat. "Alex, what's going on?" Aunt Patricia leans forward, squinting at the envelope. Cameron finally looks up, his eyes wide with confusion. Dylan whispers, "Dude, what is that?" I keep my hands folded in my lap, refusing to touch the envelope now that it's out. It sits there like a bomb, ticking away in everyone's minds. Vanessa's smirk is gone now. Her jaw tightens. I've been the outsider my entire life. Not because I was adopted. Everyone knew that from the beginning. But because Vanessa made sure I never forgot it. When we were kids, she got the bigger bedroom, the newer toys, the fancy birthday parties with ponies and magicians. I got hand-me-downs and sheet cakes from the grocery store. Mom and Dad tried to be fair, but Vanessa always demanded more. And she always got it. At family gatherings, she'd introduce me as the charity case. She'd joke that Mom and Dad only adopted me for the tax breaks. She'd whisper to cousins that I didn't really belong, that I was just playing dress-up in someone else's family. And everyone laughed, or stayed silent, which felt worse. I learned to stay quiet, to shrink myself, to accept that I'd always be less than in Vanessa's world. But I also learned to watch, to listen, to remember every single slight, every cruel joke, Every moment I was made to feel like I didn't matter. Tonight isn't spontaneous. I didn't just happen to bring this envelope. Came prepared. Tonight marks 5 years since Mom and Dad died. 5 years since the car accident on Route 9 that took them both in an instant. 5 years since everything changed. This dinner was supposed to be a memorial, a quiet family gathering to remember them, to share stories, to honor their memory. And Patricia organized it. She thought it would be healing. Instead, Vanessa turned it into another opportunity to remind me of my place. But she doesn't know what I know. She doesn't know that Mom and Dad left something behind. Something they kept secret from everyone, including her. Something they entrusted to a lawyer with strict instructions not to reveal until the right time. The envelope on the table came from them. From beyond the grave. They're finally speaking the truth that Vanessa spent years trying to bury. I can see her staring at the envelope now, her mind racing. She's trying to figure out what it is, what it means, whether it's a threat. It's all three. Vanessa's laugh breaks the silence, sharp and fake. Let me guess, she says, her voice dripping with mockery. Adoption paperwork. A birth certificate. Some sob story about how hard your life was. A few relatives chuckle nervously. Uncle Warren shifts in his seat. Cameron looks uncomfortable but says nothing. Aunt Patricia frowns but doesn't interrupt. Vanessa reaches across the table. Her manicured nails clicking against the wood. Let's see what kind of pathetic play for sympathy you've cooked up this time. She grabs the envelope before I can stop her. Not that I would. I want her to open it. I want her to see it first. To feel the ground crumble beneath her feet before anyone else does. She rips the envelope open with exaggerated confidence, pulling out the thick stack of papers inside. Her eyes scan the first page, then the second, then she stops. The color drains from her face. Her hands start to tremble. The papers shake in her grip. Cameron leans over, trying to read over her shoulder, and his face goes pale too. And Patricia stands up. What is it? Vanessa's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. No sound comes out. She just stares at the papers, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. Cameron grabs the papers from her hands. His own hands shaking now. He reads silently, his jaw dropping further with each line. This can't be real, he whispers. Uncle Warren stands up. His chair scraping loudly against the floor. What can't be real? Someone tell me what's going on. I watch them all in silence, my heart pounding but my face perfectly calm. I've imagined this moment 1,000 times. I've rehearsed it, planned it, prepared for every possible reaction. But nothing compares to actually seeing it happen. Aunt Patricia snatches the papers from Cameron and reads. Her face goes white. She looks at me, then at Vanessa, then back at the papers. Oh my God, she breathes. Dylan leans over, trying to peek. What does it say? Vanessa finally finds her voice. Comes out as a strangled scream. This is fake. It has to be fake. She slams her fists on the table, making the dishes rattle. Mom and Dad would never, they wouldn't. But she can't finish. Because deep down she knows it's real. The papers on the table are a will. Not the original will that everyone saw 5 years ago. The one that split everything evenly between Vanessa, Cameron and me. This is a second will, legally updated and notarized just 3 months before Mom and Dad died. Changes everything. In this version, the family home goes to me. The savings accounts go to me. The life insurance policies, split between me and Cameron, with Vanessa getting only a small fraction. The family business, the one Dad built from nothing, the one Vanessa has been running for the past 5 years. It's not hers. Never was. It's held in a trust. For me. Vanessa was only ever a temporary manager, appointed by the estate until I turned 25. I turned 25 3 weeks ago. And according to the will, her position ends tonight at midnight. Aunt Patricia reads the final page aloud, her voice shaking. Signed and witnessed by Lawrence Brennan, attorney at law. Notarized on March 14th. legally binding and superseding all previous wills. Vanessa's face twists with rage. She turns on me, her eyes blazing. You did this. You tricked them. You manipulated them when they were vulnerable. Finally speak. My voice is quiet but steady. I didn't do anything. They did this themselves. Vanessa lunges across the table, her face red with fury. Liar. You're a manipulative, scheming liar. She points a shaking finger at me. You played the victim, you guilt-tripped them. You made them think I was some kind of monster. Uncle Warren tries to pull her back. Vanessa, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down, she screams. She turns to the rest of the table, her voice rising to a hysterical pitch. She forged this. She paid some lawyer to fake it. This isn't real, it can't be real. Cameron picks up the papers again, studying them closely. Vanessa, the signatures look legitimate. And this notary seal. I don't care. Vanessa shrieks. She's lying. She's always been a liar, always trying to steal what's mine. Aunt Patricia's voice is quiet but firm. Vanessa, stop. But Vanessa doesn't stop. She grabs her phone, her fingers fumbling over the screen. I'm calling our lawyer. I'm calling the executor. I'm calling everyone who needs to know that Alex is trying to steal our inheritance with fake documents. I reach into my bag again and pull out a second envelope, smaller and thinner than the first. I place it on the table next to the will. This is the lawyer's letter, I say calmly. It explains everything. Aunt Patricia opens the second envelope with shaking hands. Inside is a letter on official law firm stationery, signed by Lawrence Brennan himself. She reads it silently at first, her eyes moving quickly across the page. Then she reads it aloud. To the family of Douglas and Helena Montgomery, this letter serves to explain the changes made to the last will and testament. After careful consideration and private consultations with both Mr. and Mrs. Montgomery, it became clear that amendments were necessary due to ongoing concerns regarding financial manipulation, emotional abuse, and one specific incident that caused significant distress. Vanessa's face goes from red to purple. What incident? What are they talking about? Aunt Patricia continues reading, her voice getting quieter. The incident in question occurred in the weeks following the parents' initial diagnosis. Details of this incident are documented separately and were witnessed by a third party. Uncle Warren interrupts. What diagnosis? Take a breath. Dad had early-stage Alzheimer's. Mom was in the early stages of heart failure. They didn't want anyone to know. They wanted to live normally for as long as they could. The table goes silent. No one knew. Not even Cameron. Mom and Dad kept it hidden, seeing specialists out of town, paying cash for appointments so insurance wouldn't leave a paper trail. Vanessa stares at me, her mouth hanging open. You're lying. I'm not, I say quietly. And the incident the lawyer mentioned. That was you. I can see the fear creeping into Vanessa's eyes now. She knows what I'm about to say. She's known all along that this day might come. 3 weeks after they got their diagnoses, I begin, my voice steady. You tried to have them declared mentally incompetent. You called a lawyer, started paperwork to get power of attorney, and told him that Dad was losing his mind, and Mom was too emotional to make decisions. Vanessa's face drains of color. That's not, I was trying to help. You told the lawyer that I was manipulating them. I continue, cutting her off. You said I was poisoning them against you, that I was after their money, and that they needed to be protected from me. You wanted to take control of everything while they were still alive. Cameron's head snaps toward Vanessa. You did what? You wanted them in a nursing home, I say, my voice harder now. You told the lawyer they were a danger to themselves. You wanted to sell the house, liquidate their assets, and put them somewhere safe, where you could control every decision. Uncle Warren's face hardens. Vanessa, is this true? Vanessa opens her mouth, but before she can speak, Aunt Patricia's voice cuts through. It's true. I knew about it. Every head turns toward Aunt Patricia. 12. Aunt Patricia's hands are shaking as she sets down the letter. Vanessa came to me, she says quietly. She told me your parents were declining. She said she needed help getting them into a facility. She asked me to back her up if anyone questioned it. The silence is deafening. I said no, Aunt Patricia continues, her voice breaking. I told her it was wrong. Douglas and Helena were perfectly capable of making their own decisions. But Vanessa insisted. She said she was protecting them. Cameron's face is pale. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I thought Vanessa would drop it, Aunt Patricia admits, tears streaming down her face. I thought she'd realize how awful it was and stop. But then Douglas and Helena died, and it was too late to say anything. I thought it didn't matter anymore. Vanessa's chair scrapes loudly as she stands up. You're all ganging up on me. I did what I thought was right. They were sick, and Alex was manipulating them. I wasn't manipulating anyone, I say, my voice ice cold. I was taking care of them. I was the one driving them to doctor appointments. I was the one making sure they took their medications. I was the one holding Mom's hand when she cried because she was scared. Vanessa's face twists. Liar. Mom and Dad knew what you tried to do, I say. And that's why they changed the will. 15. Table splits. Uncle Warren stands up and walks to my side. His hand resting on my shoulder. Dylan follows. His face hard with anger at his mother for staying silent. Two other cousins shift in their seats, their expressions uncomfortable but clearly on my side. Cameron stays frozen in the middle, his face torn between loyalty to Vanessa and the truth staring him in the face. Aunt Patricia sits down heavily, burying her face in her hands. Vanessa looks around the table, realizing she's losing control. Her eyes dart from face to face, searching for allies and finding none. Panic flashes across her features, quickly replaced by fury. Fine, she snaps. Fine. Believe her. Believe whatever lies she's feeding you. She grabs her purse from the back of her chair and pulls out her phone. But here's what you don't know. The house is already in my name. The business accounts are in my name. The life insurance payouts went into accounts I control. Everything is already mine legally and officially. So whatever that fake will says, it doesn't matter. I have everything, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. She storms toward the hallway, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor. I'm calling my lawyer right now. We'll see who really owns what. I watch her go, my face calm. I expected that. He stops, turns, stares at me. I reach into my bag one more time. 14. The third envelope is thicker than the first two combined. I place it on the table with a soft thud. Everyone stares at it like it's a ticking bomb. Bank records, I say quietly. Transfer freezes. Legal filings submitted to the county courthouse 3 weeks ago. Injunctions preventing any assets from being moved or sold until the estate is properly settled according to the updated will. Vanessa's face goes white. You can't. I already did, I say. The moment I turned 25 and the trust activated, I filed everything with the lawyer. Every account you thought was yours. Frozen. Every property transfer you made. Invalidated. Every piece of paperwork you filed claiming ownership. Contested and under legal review. Cameron opens the envelope with shaking hands. Inside are dozens of pages. Bank statements, legal motions, affidavits, court orders. All dated within the last 3 weeks. All bearing official stamps and signatures. You knew, Vanessa whispers, her voice hoarse. You knew this whole time and you just waited. I found out about what you tried to do to Mom and Dad 2 years ago. I say, my voice steady. I hired a private investigator. I tracked down the lawyer you contacted. I got copies of every email, every phone call, every document you filed trying to take control of their lives. Vanessa's hands start shaking. You've been planning this for 2 years. I've been preparing, I correct. Tonight wasn't revenge. It was justice. I stand up slowly, pushing my chair back. Everyone watches me. Their faces a mixture of shock, awe, and fear. For 2 years I gathered evidence. I say, my voice calm but firm. I documented every lie you told about me. Every time you claimed I was after their money. Every time you told relatives I didn't deserve to be part of this family. Every time you tried to poison people against me. I recorded it. I saved it. I kept it. Vanessa backs against the wall, her face pale. You recorded me. I recorded conversations where you admitted to trying to institutionalize them. I say. I recorded you laughing about it with your friends, saying how easy it would be to get rid of the old folks once they were out of the way. I have everything, Vanessa. Every single ugly, cruel thing you ever said or did. Cameron looks sick. Why didn't you tell us? Because no one would have believed me, I say simply. Vanessa was the golden child. The successful businesswoman. The daughter who could do no wrong. I was just the adopted kid, the outsider, the one who didn't really belong. If I'd said anything without proof, she would have turned everyone against me. Uncle Warren's voice is quiet. So you waited until you had undeniable evidence. I waited until I could prove everything, I say. And tonight I did. I pull out one final document from the envelope, a copy of the business trust agreement. I hand it to Cameron, who reads it with wide eyes. The family business was never hers, I say, looking directly at Vanessa. Dad set up a trust 5 years before he died. The business was always meant to be held separately from personal assets. Vanessa was named temporary manager, with a salary and limited decision-making power. But the trust specifies that ownership transfers to me upon my 25th birthday. Vanessa's voice cracks. He wouldn't, Dad would never. Dad knew you'd try to take everything, I say. He saw how you operated, how you manipulated situations to benefit yourself. So he protected the business. He protected me. And Mom agreed with every word of it. Cameron reads the final clause aloud. His voice shaking. Upon Alexandra Montgomery's 25th birthday, all managerial authority transfers to her. The previous manager's position terminates at 11:59 p.m. on said date. Alexandra will assume full control effective 12 a.m. the following day. Vanessa looks at her watch. It's 11:47 p.m. She has 13 minutes left. Her face crumples. For the first time tonight, I see something other than anger in her eyes. See fear. Real raw terror. Please, she whispers. Alex, please. Don't do this. Vanessa sinks to her knees on the dining room floor. Her designer dress pooling around her. Tears stream down her face, smudging her perfect makeup. Please, Alex. I'm your sister. Or family. Don't take everything from me. The relatives watch in stunned silence. This is the woman who spent decades tormenting me, who called me worthless, who tried to institutionalize our parents so she could control their assets. Now she's begging. I'm sorry, she sobs. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was awful. But please don't destroy me. I'll do anything. I'll apologize publicly. I'll give back what I took. Just please don't take the business. Cameron kneels beside her, looking lost. Uncle Warren stares at the floor. Aunt Patricia cries quietly into her napkin. Dylan looks at me, waiting to see what I'll do. Part of me wants to feel satisfaction. Part of me wants to see her suffer the way she made me suffer. But mostly I just feel tired. Vanessa reaches for my hand. Please. I'm begging you. Don't do this. I pull my hand back, my voice quiet but firm. You made your choices, Vanessa. You spent years making mine for me. Now I'm making my own. She collapses completely, her sobs echoing through the room. I take a deep breath and look around the table at the faces of my family. Some look relieved. Some look guilty. Some can't meet my eyes at all. I want you all to understand something, I say, my voice steady. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about punishing Vanessa just because I can. This is about setting things right. Vanessa looks up at me, her mascara running in black streaks down her cheeks. You made me feel like nothing my entire life, I continue, my voice harder now. You told me I didn't belong. You told me I was a burden, a charity case, someone Mom and Dad only kept around out of obligation. You made every family gathering a reminder that I wasn't really one of you. My voice cracks slightly, but I push through. You tried to take away the only two people who ever made me feel like I mattered. You tried to lock them away, to silence them, to control them. And when they died, you acted like you were the grieving daughter while I was just there. Aunt Patricia covers her mouth, fresh tears streaming. Uncle Warren's jaw tightens. Cameron looks like he might be sick. You don't get to beg for mercy now, I say quietly. Not after everything you did. But then I pause. However, I'm not you. Vanessa's head snaps up, hope flickering in her eyes. What do you mean? I walk to the table and pull out one more paper from the envelope. A handwritten letter, sealed in plastic to preserve it. This is from Mom. She wrote it a week before the accident. She asked the lawyer to give it to me when the time was right. My hands shake as I hold it. I've read it 100 times, but it still makes my chest tight. She knew you'd fight this. She knew you'd claim I manipulated them, that I was lying, that none of this was real. So she wrote down everything. Her reasons, her wishes, her love for all of us. Including you. I hand the letter to Vanessa. She takes it with trembling hands, her eyes scanning the familiar handwriting. I watch as she reads words meant for her, words I've memorized. She didn't want to destroy you, I say quietly. She wanted to protect me. There's a difference. Vanessa's face crumples as she reads. Mom's words are gentle but firm, explaining that she loved Vanessa but couldn't ignore the cruelty anymore. That she hoped Vanessa would someday understand. I'm not taking everything, I say. You'll get a portion of the estate. Enough to live on, to start over if you want. But not enough to control anyone ever again. The relatives around the table begin to speak, their voices overlapping in a chaotic blend of apologies and excuses. Alex, I'm so sorry, Uncle Warren says. His voice thick with emotion. I should have said something when Vanessa spoke to you that way. I should have defended you. Aunt Patricia stands up, walking over to me with tears streaming down her face. I failed you. I knew what she was trying to do, and I stayed silent. I was a coward. Dylan reaches out and squeezes my shoulder. You deserved better from all of us. One by one they apologize. Some of the apologies feel genuine. Others feel hollow, born more from guilt than actual remorse. But I accept them all with a quiet nod, not because I forgive them completely, but because I'm too exhausted to do anything else. Cameron finally speaks. His voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know. I swear, Alex, I didn't know what she tried to do to Mom and Dad. If I had, would you have stopped her? I ask, my voice sharper than I intend. Or would you have stayed silent like everyone else? He doesn't answer. He can't. Because deep down we both know the truth. I look around the table one last time. I don't need your apologies. I needed your support when it mattered. But I'll survive without it. I gather the papers from the table, sliding them back into the envelopes with careful precision. My hands are steady now, my breathing even. Around me, the room feels smaller, suffocating in its tension and unspoken regrets. Thank you for dinner, I say quietly, my voice cutting through the thick silence. I appreciate Aunt Patricia organizing this. Mom and Dad would have wanted us together tonight. I turn toward the door, my bag slung over my shoulder. No one tries to stop me. No one asks me to stay. Vanessa is still on the floor, clutching Mom's letter like a lifeline. Cameron sits frozen in his chair, staring at nothing. Uncle Warren stands. Alex, wait. I'm done waiting, I say, not looking back. I've waited my whole life to be treated like I matter. Tonight, I finally made that happen myself. I walk through the dining room, my footsteps echoing against the hardwood. The hallway stretches before me, lit by soft yellow light. At the end of it, I can see the kitchen door, the place Vanessa told me to go, the place she thought I belonged. I pause at the threshold, looking back one last time. Then I keep walking past the kitchen straight to the front door. Choose myself. The cool night air hits my face as I step outside, and for the first time in hours I can breathe. The house behind me is still lit up, warm and glowing, but it doesn't feel like home anymore. Maybe it never did. I walk to my car, parked at the curb under a street lamp. My hands shake as I unlock the door, the adrenaline finally catching up to me. I sit in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel, and let out a long, shaky breath. I didn't cry in there. I refused to give Vanessa the satisfaction. But now, alone in the dark, the tears come. Not tears of sadness, but of relief. Of release. I stayed silent for so long, swallowing every insult, every dismissal, every reminder that I wasn't real family. I convinced myself that keeping the peace was more important than standing up for myself. But tonight I finally spoke. And the weight of all those years, all that pain, feels a little lighter. I pull out my phone and open a text from the lawyer. Everything is filed. Midnight transfer is locked in. Congratulations, Alex. I glance at the time. 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes left. I watch the seconds tick by, counting down to the moment everything changes. At exactly midnight, my phone buzzes. Transfer complete. You are now the legal owner. I smile through my tears. 3 months later, I walk into the office building that used to intimidate me. Now it's mine. The marble floors, the glass walls, the receptionist who greets me by name. All of it belongs to me now. I spent the first month restructuring. I fired the managers Vanessa hired. The ones who cut corners, who mistreated employees, who cared more about profit than people. I brought in new leadership. People who shared Dad's vision of running a business with integrity. The employees were skeptical at first. They'd spent 5 years under Vanessa's harsh management style. But slowly they began to trust me. I listened to their concerns, improved working conditions, and implemented the changes Dad always wanted but never got the chance to make. The business is thriving now. Profits are up, morale is higher, and clients have started coming back. The ones who left during Vanessa's tenure heard about the changes and wanted to give us another chance. I sit in Dad's old office, surrounded by his books and the photos of our family that Vanessa had removed. Put them all back. Mom and Dad smile at me from the frames and I smile back. I'm doing it, I whisper to their pictures. I'm honoring your legacy. I hear about Vanessa through family updates I no longer ask for but still receive. Aunt Patricia calls occasionally, guilty and overly chatty, filling me in on details I don't particularly care about. Vanessa burned every bridge she had. The friends who used to orbit her, drawn by her status and money, disappeared once she no longer had either. The business contacts she relied on refused to work with her after word spread about how she lost the family company. She moved to a small apartment across town. She got a job, a regular, unremarkable job, something she'd always looked down on others for having. I heard she struggled at first, unused to being ordinary, to not having power or prestige. And Patricia tells me Vanessa asks about me sometimes. She wonders if I hate her, if I ever think about her, if there's any chance for reconciliation. Feel nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not even pity. Just a calm, neutral indifference. She's no longer part of my life, and that's exactly how I want it. Cameron reached out once, asking if we could talk. I declined. Some relationships aren't worth salvaging, even if they're family. He made his choices. Made mine. I've come to understand something important over these past few months. I was never not real family. I was the only one who truly honored what family should mean. Family isn't about blood. It's not about who shares your DNA or your last name. It's about who shows up, who cares, who fights for you when things get hard. Mom and Dad knew that. They proved it every single day by choosing to love me not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Vanessa spent her whole life obsessed with bloodlines and hierarchies, with who belonged and who didn't. She measured worth in inheritances and assets, in who got the biggest piece of the pie. She never understood that love isn't something you hoard or ration. It's something you give freely, or it's not love at all. I've built a new family now, People I trust, people who see me for who I am, people who showed up when it mattered. Uncle Warren checks in every week. Dylan and I grab coffee regularly. Even some cousins I barely knew have reached out, apologizing for their silence and wanting to rebuild. I've redefined what family means to me, and it feels right. Feels like home. I sit at my desk, looking out over the city, and I think about the girl who used to shrink herself to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. That girl is gone now. In her place is someone stronger, someone who knows her worth, someone who refuses to apologize for taking up space. I was never the outsider. I was always exactly where I belonged. And finally, I believe it.